Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me at this time as we look at some very, very hot topics. If you notice, I've actually changed the video of the introduction of this YouTube channel. First, we changed the name from Solomon's Temple to just Uncle Solomon, just to make it easy, isn't it? And then I just changed the video. I had two videos. This other one, I'd never really used it before. So I just said to put that out because this month is 1 year since I actually been on YouTube. And it's been so great to have all of you guys here, watching a lot of the broadcast and commenting and learning from each other. I just really appreciate each and every one of you. And there's more to come. Like I said, we're on the bench of building a website, which is going to have a whole lot more things and content that I cannot share on YouTube. There's a lot of restrictions on YouTube, but with a website, there's no really restrictions. And also, we're going to be able to not just have videos, but we're going to have podcasts, and also we're going to have articles. There are certain things that I also want to share, but I cannot do 10 broadcasts a day, so they're going to be on the website. So look out for that website very soon. Very, very soon is unclesolomon.com, unclesolomon.com. But thank you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. And I actually wanted to show you something. Can you believe it? I totally forgot. So if you can give me a moment, let me just put this here. Just so I know some of you guys, I'm going to do another broadcast a bit later. And then later tonight, I'm going to be looking at, I'm going to have a guest that we're going to be looking at two things, which is more like, hold on. All right, done. So I wanted to actually tell you today is my 8th wedding anniversary, right? This is my 8th wedding anniversary. And first, I see somebody come in here. All these guys that know how to use these super stickers. Messi have actually sent in 10 pounds, via the super sticker. Thank you so much, Messi. You guys are really giving towards this work. Without your support, we're not going to be able to do it. So thank you so much. A lot of people gave also yesterday, but today is actually my wedding anniversary. 8 years together with my wife. We got married traditionally, the Zulu way and the Nigerian way, in KwaZulu-Natal here in South Africa. And then we had a white wedding also. My family came in. We had a white wedding here in Johannesburg. My family came in. And then afterwards we went to Nigeria, and we got to have a wedding celebration. And also the church where I grew up in Jos, Nigeria, also prayed for us, So this is 8 years later. And I wrote this short essay for my wife earlier on today. She's just been wonderful. It's so good to be her husband. And I really, really appreciate my wife. And just to take you a little bit, this was the day that we got married, right? The white wedding, that is. This is the day that we got married. We had a white wedding. And it was wonderful. It was one of those winter wedding, because right now is actually winter in South Africa. So it was So it was a window wedding. So this me and my wife, obviously. We had a great time. We had families and friends from all over. And this is another photo from the wedding. The photos that we took, and it was a great day. And about 2 years later, of course, she was pregnant with our first son. And this is us together. A friend of ours decided to have a photo shoot for us. She's an architect and a photographer, so she decided to have a. So that's about, my wife was about 36 weeks pregnant, you know. And then later on, obviously, now we have 2 boys, Arin and Itse, you know. So this is us 8 years later, by the grace of God. This is our traditional wedding down in KwaZulu-Natal. This is us in our Nigerian regalia, and my father-in-law and mother-in-law are together. So just wanted to share that with you, that today is, I prayed over my wife this morning, that the Lord will continue to bless her and bless us as a family. And feel free, that's what I try to do every week, to lay hands on my wife and pray over her and bless her. My kids the same way. You know, I pray over them, and they also need to pray. So they've realized the importance of prayers already. So we need to do that. We need to keep doing that. So thank you for wishing me happy anniversary all the way from he's saying happy anniversary, uncle. Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it. Junior, thank you so much. Thank you, Voice of End Times. Thank you so much. Tuli, Nyabonga Tuli. It's a morning, Uncle Solomon, Botswana in the house. Thank you, Chi. Fine babe. She said, mine is 22 years this April. Wow. We still have a lot to catch up. We're getting there. Thank you so much, Nikki Lady. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate each and every one of you. There's a lot of congratulations here. Thanks, Macy Joseph, for your donation. Yes, Mary Joseph used the super sticker. So guys, please feel free to use the super sticker if you want to contribute to the work that we're doing. I will really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, V. So I'm going to do this broadcast now, and I'm going to do another one just in a little later. And then tonight at 8 p.m. South African time, I'm going to bring in a guest, and we're going to be looking at, what do you call it? We're going to be looking at the prophetic versus divination. There's a lot of some sort of contradiction between divination and the prophetic. And the prophetic and divination are very, very close, that we get confused. And a lot of prophets bring in, and a lot of so-called men of God bring in divination into the church and claim is the prophetic. So they end up manipulating you. They end up enslaving you. They end up recruiting you into a certain cult that you're not even aware of. So tonight, I would have a guest that we're going to dissect that and look at it, because there's a lot of divination in the church. So we're going to look at that with my guest much later, 8 p.m. South African time. Please make sure you do not forget, because that would help us to discern the spirit. If you don't know the differences, you're not going to be able to have a spirit of discernment. There's a miracle that was conducted. Does that mean that it was from God? Not every miracle is from God. Hello. When Pharaoh was told to let the people go by Moses, and he refused, Moses did miracles. Pharaoh said, okay, that's fine. I'm going to call my wise men. I'm going to call my people, my witch doctors, to come and do the same. They came and they did the same thing. You know? So it's not the fact that there is a supernatural occurrence. but it's the fact that what informed, what is behind, what is the source, what is the power behind that supernatural occurrence? And that's the question that we always need to ask ourselves. It's important. Many people are not aware of the differences between divination and the prophetic. And many people are also not aware of the similarities between divination and the prophetic. They're so close that a lot of people have been recruited into divination without their knowledge because they cannot. You just call him a man of God. He's a prophet because he can do that and do that and do that. Who says he's a prophet of God? I'm not denying the fact that he's a prophet, but is he a prophet of God? You're a prophet of God, you're a prophet of dooms. Just because you carry the title of a prophet doesn't mean you are from the one true God, the biblical God that we know. So let's dive into what I have to discuss. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel right away and share this video. I'm going to be looking at, together, we see that TB Joshua's burial commences. So yesterday, officially, the burial and the funeral procession of TB Joshua was started yesterday. It's going to be a week-long events and different activities, a whole week. So the whole week is going to be events and different, different activities. And this is what they actually said from the church. They said the activities is tagged celebrating the life and legacy of Prophet Joshua, born in 1963 to 2021. So they claiming that they're celebrating his life. Yes, you can celebrate any life that you want to, but how can you celebrate his legacy? What sort of legacy did he leave? For me, he left a legacy that has destroyed many and gave wealth, fame, and fortune to a few, but destroyed far more. Just out of curiosity, the last week or so, twice I went to Emmanuel TV just to check out what they do. It's just all about him. Like everything stopped. That's to tell you that's to give you an idea of the idolatry that they idolize this man, TB Joshua. Everything stops. I'm not saying when somebody passes away, we shouldn't remember them. We shouldn't celebrate them. We shouldn't have activities around them. But when everything is now centered around that person from start to finish for 4 weeks, that in itself is a problem. And when you say you're celebrating his legacy, my question is, what legacy? What legacy? I'm ashamed of the legacy that TB Joshua left, to be honest with you. Anyway, let's not go in there. But there are obviously been part of the activities that happened. Like I said, there's going to be a week-long activities before he's buried. So yesterday it was his wife, Evelyn Joshua, who led a funeral candlelight procession by Synagogue Church and Emmanuel TV. So they led a funeral. She led a funeral candlelight procession. There were quite a lot of people who were there. People locally, people internationally. They were all there. This was part of the candlelight. So these were the candlelights. You see, they have these T-shirts that they created with his photo on it and his back on it. And, everything is, I have a problem when everything is centered around man, around one man. There's just a problem with that. I'm not against this, but if you know the background of who this man was, what he represented, it's sad. So they had this funeral, candlelight procession. Everybody lit a candle, everybody carried a candle, and they carried it from one part of the property to another part of the property, and then they have to now also plant it and put it in certain places where they are required to. So he has this. TB Joshua has this resort. It's called Synagogue Church of All Nations Resort. So there's like accommodation, there's like water, there's just a whole lot of stuff. Oh man, yeah. And so people did that around there. Around there, they had this candlelight. And this is also part of the candlelight. You could see this is TB Joshua's wife right there in front, putting her own candle. Evelyn, she's leading the team. She's leading everyone. Now she's putting her own candle there. And quite a lot of people congregated because yesterday was the opening night. Now, when you light a candle, we know what a candle represents. Obviously, it's not just fire, but it's something that keeps burning. It's something that is light. So obviously, they created all this to try to celebrate and see him as a light. Even in the auditorium, there were quite a lot of people who also had their own candlelight. So this is in the auditorium, a lot of people with their own candlelight. There's going to be quite a lot during the week. And just to give you a brief from one of the leaders there, from what they said, it said there's going to be a private candlelight. So that was yesterday from 6 p.m. So the whole, and then tonight there's also going to be, candlelight. Sorry, yesterday there was a private candlelight. So there will be some sort of a tribute service, 10 a.m. and then 7 p.m., which would be open to the public, but limited to certain people. He also said, that's one of the leaders, he also said there would be a service of songs and an all-night praise starting at midnight. So all-night praise starting at midnight until dawn, until the early hours of the morning. So it is going to be praise night. And so on July the 8th, so when is July the 8th? So July the 8th, that's going to be on Thursday. TB Joshua is going to be lying in state. They will be lying in state. They'll be lying in state from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Thursday, the 8th of July. And then the 11th of July would be the last day where they're going to have a Thanksgiving service. That's going to be the Sunday. So obviously that they've decided to give people the last opportunity for them to see him and to bid him farewell. So they're having him on the 8th of July. He's going to be lying in state. Obviously, maybe I think the best place would be in the church auditorium, where people would congregate and also queue up and take turns to see him lying in his casket, his coffin, for the last time, and bid him farewell. So they definitely have quite a lot. They definitely have quite a lot that they have put out there. So you have all that for a whole week. Now, since the day TB Joshua died, if you look at Emmanuel TV, everything around Emmanuel TV is just TB Joshua. So we're going like what now? 3-4 weeks. When I look at the tribute, the funeral plans and everything for a whole week, and what has been going on in Emmanuel TV and around the synagogue, this represents a lot of idolatry. You know, it shows that this whole thing was a one-man show. It will be interesting to see how they're going to, move on from here, because a lot is going to change. A lot is going to change. But it will be interesting to see how they're going to move on from here and from now henceforth. How his wife, which I believe she's potentially the one that's going to take over, what is going to be done and how is that going to be done? They obviously need to retain the wise men and the evangelists to create all the drama, all the deliverance drama and all the same sort of like template. Because the template that TB Joshua created was a winning template. The whole dramatization and they have to maintain it if they want to keeping on. They have to maintain it. So whilst the candlelight event was going on last night, around 11 p.m., there was an outbreak of fire at the synagogue. There was fire that I said is one of their storeroom, and fire started, and the fire went on for a couple of hours, and they had to invite the fire service to come and tone it down. So quite a lot of, even if you check out some of the Nigerian news websites, they carried a lot of these stories. Fire erupts in building at TB Joshua's funeral. Is that fire trying to tell us something greater than the fire that lit to their candle? Why is there fire to fire? You need to ask all these questions. So in case you do not know, last night, at about 11 p.m., whilst the whole candlelight event was going on with TB Joshua, another part of the property, another part of the location caught fire, and quite a lot of stuff were damaged. But thank God the fire was brought under control. So it's quite interesting what they have lined up for the week for TB Joshua. So he's been in the mortuary for the last 3-4 weeks. Now they're putting him out there so people can bid him farewell. But with this week, it's very important, and I want us to pray, because this week will represent a shift. The moment he's buried, it will represent a shift. But we have to call out what sort of shift we need across Africa, what sort of shift we need across the atmosphere in Nigeria. If you are Nigerian watching, This week is a week that you need to pray. We need to continue praying this week that the demise of TB Joshua would continue to unlock the heavens, the atmosphere, spiritual atmosphere in Nigeria. Continue to unlock people that have been locked up, shut up in darkness, blinded by deceptions, philosophies of man, and charlatans like TB Joshua, because he's not the only one. There's quite a lot of them in Nigeria and across the African continent. But may this week be an end to something and the beginning of something. May it be an end and may it be a new beginning. And we need to continue to pray about that. We need to continue to pray about that. JB is saying, you mean to tell me he was not buried yet? No, he wasn't buried. He hasn't been buried. He's still there. I told you from the beginning, I said it's going to take a long time to bury him. Voice for the End said, I don't care what celebrations they do. They can't make something sacred out of an accursed event. TB Joshua is in hell. Nothing and no one can change that. Kanyisa says, I believe candlelight tradition comes from sorcery and most pagan practices is now a thing in New Age. I remember South African president was doing some candlelight live on TV around New Year's Eve. There are so many connotations to candlelight, that what it represents. So we must be careful to understand who is doing the candlelight procession and what is their intention, what is behind what they're doing. Because there are different reasons why people are doing it. And we have to read between the lines. We have to read between the lines. Bongani is saying the aeroplane caused the fire. You remember that whole, when the building came down and then people died and there was this claim that there was an aeroplane that was, oh man. TB Joshua has really lied to us, yeah? He has lied to us. He played us. That guy played us. He played us. But the end has come. The end has come. The end has come. For some people, we fly out to Nigeria to go and see him in a coffin. Like I said, on Thursday, he's going to be lying in state, you know, where people can come and see him and all that. For some people, it's the spiritual thing. It's a spiritual experience. Let me go. Just by looking at him, I'm going to have some anointing. I'm going to have some touch. Just by looking at him, the man of God is going to, they're probably going to create some special water that TB Joshua prayed over before he passed away. You know, these guys are going to create a whole lot of products. Watch. You don't know them. It's quite a lot. There's quite a lot that they're going to be creating. So I wanted to just let you know, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the YouTube channel right now. So I would like for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel right now. We're on. And yeah, Zoe, boom, you said it, uncle. Tandai said, what is happening in Nigeria is idolatry. Yeah, very much. We tend to take scriptures or to kind of like serenade it with scriptures to make it look like it's, because it's happening in the so-called church, we think it's okay. Serena says, strange things keep happening in SCOAN. Hope the wife will set those ladies free. They have been caged for a long time. Skinner is saying, do you think his wife will start staging miracles? Yes, I believe so. Staging miracles is part of the brand. It's part of the TB Joshua brand. It's part of the Emmanuel TV brand. So you cannot just stop it. If you stop it, then you're going to lose money. People are going to go away. So one way or the other, she's going to try to bring that in. Or alternatively, also use a lot of the wise men and the evangelists to do some of those things, because they've also been a part of it. She Fine Babe said his dynasty will be in ruins, just like Jesus of Oyimbo in Lagos, Nigeria. Just give SCOAN 5 more years. Yeah, I think in 5 years, 7 years, Synagogue Church of All Nations would disappear. It will be ineffective. You're not going to hear about it anymore. But now they have to keep the TB Joshua name and brand going. That's the only way for them to keep making money and to stay alive. And they're going to have internal problems. They're going to have fights. Watch out. But this is the beginning for the end for them. And like She Fine Baby saying, Jesus of Oyimbo is another one who came as a Messiah way back. I think I was a kid then also. Way back. That also, the same way that TB Joshua proclaimed and positioned himself was the same way that this Jesus of Oyimbo actually did the same thing. Tahiri says, even though there are so many fakes, I still believe God is raising up people who walk in truth of God's word. God is raising people like some of you guys who are watching now. God is raising us, people of truth, people that would do anything to stay on the truth, to defend the truth, to stand on the truth. And you can be a part of it. You and I should be a part of it. That's important. We cannot compromise that. We have to keep doing that because that is very important. We cannot compromise it. It's important. There is a remnant, the Bible says. God does not need 100% of the people to cooperate with him to bring about change. No. God does not even need 50% of the people. If there's even a remnant of 10%, 7%, God can use and unleash his power, and people would see the power of God. Christine is saying, to me, SCOAN died with its owner. Indeed. If he's saying, if the fake miracles stop, the money to SCOAN stops. The ministry was built around one man, and he's now dead. So just wanted to bring this to your attention. And I'll be back a little bit later. Like I said, tonight, I'll be back in about an hour, but then I will have another broadcast tonight at 8 p.m. South African time, where I would have a guest where we're going to be looking at the prophetic and divination in the church. If you know what divination is, it's not of God. The prophetic is of God. But then we have a lot of people operating, doing divination, but then they're calling it the prophetic. So we're going to look at that later tonight and dissect it and try to look at the similarities, the differences, just so we can have a sharper sense of and spirit of discernment. So please catch me out. I'll be here in about an hour. Thank you. May God bless you, and see you in a bit.
Marriage. Of course, marriage is not your normal bump and face kind of relationship. It brings both excitement and disappointments. If you find yourself married in community of property, and often delayed in your business transactions and dealings? Worry no more, because Masinya Attorneys uses the law to help you change from in-community of property to out of community of property and vice versa. Call Masinya Attorneys today on 084 383 7747. We will sort you out with a High Court application, and of course you get to keep your spouse. That's Masinya Attorneys on 084 383 7747.